By the end of this video, you will know what is the best no-code AI coding tool on the planet: Bolt.new, Cursor, or Windsurf. Last video I made, I declared Windsurf the best AI coding tool based on me just using it and building an app. People got pissed. The comments were crazy. Everyone was hating on me. It was my best performing video ever, but I stand by that. So this video, we're going to put it to the test. I'm going to build the same chatbot app in Bolt.new, in Cursor, in Windsurf. I'm going to score each one based on these scientific methods and facts here in this data: total time, prompts made, errors ran into, ease of use 1 to 10, quality of app 1 to 10. So the quality of the chatbot app. I'm going to score each one. I'm going to build the app out in each, and we're going to know for a stone cold fact which one is the best. If you stick with me into the end, you'll know which AI coding tool to use for the rest of your life. Let's get into it. So let's start with Bolt. We are going to build a chatbot AI app in Bolt. We're going to make this a little bit more complex than your basic to-do list app, so we can put it to the test here. We're going to have a front end of Next. We're going to have a back end of Supabase. We're going to use the ChatGPT API, and we're going to store all our chat logs in Supabase so we can see how easy this will be to build the app in Bolt, in Cursor, in Windsurf. Again, here's the score we're going to use. So I'm going to start a timer on my phone. I'm going to also count the amount of prompts we have to use to build this app. We're going to count the amount of errors we run into along the way. And then I'm personally going to rate it kind of subjectively, ease of use and quality of the app that comes out, quality of the chatbot app. Okay, so here's the prompts we're going to use. We're going to use the same beginning prompt in all three apps. I want to build an AI content coach chatbot app. So we're going to make an interesting chatbot app here. It's going to be a content coach that helps you out with content that uses the ChatGPT API. The backend should be Supabase. All our chat logs should be stored in the database. This should be using Next.js. Make the app look pretty. So we're going to see which app comes out best, which app uses the least amount of prompts. Let's put this to the test and hit it. So this is Bolt.new. For those who don't know, Bolt.new was really the first kind of agentic AI app put out where an AI agent goes and builds out most of the app for you. What makes it different is it's built on the web. It's not really built in an IDE. So it's supposed to be a lot more beginner friendly, a lot easier to use. You put in a prompt and it kind of installs all the tech and builds everything out for you. As you can see here on the left-hand side, it's installing dependencies. It's figuring out which tech to use. It's writing out all the code for us. So this was kind of the original agentic AI app where you had an AI agent going in and doing everything for you. I had some concerns because I don't think it was quite as good for the more advanced users. So this is a little bit more of an advanced use case. So we'll see how it handles it. We'll see how many prompts we need and we'll see what we come up with. I have my timer going here on my phone. So I'll give you the final time once this app is built and we'll put it into the scorecard to see where we're at. I've created a modern AI content coach application with the following features: clean, modern UI and dark light mode support, real-time chat interface. Okay, okay. All right, so we have our first error. So let me put in our scorecard here. Bolt error. We're at 1 so far. All right. So let's click try to fix problems and see how it handles the problems. Not a good start for Bolt here. Not a good start for Bolt. Okay, I'll fix the missing dependencies and components. We're about to hit the minute mark here. We're about a minute in Bolt. So we're fixing the first error in the first minute here. I take a sip of my coffee while this is going. And as this is building, make sure to leave a like down below if you've learned anything so far. Subscribe for more of the most up-to-date breaking AI news. And let me know in the replies which tool you're using to code right now. It is installing the dependency. So it's having issues with npm install here. So really basic stuff it's having issues with. If I'm a non-tech person and I'm trying to build here, this is probably tripping me up and going, what the hell is going on here? Why is this broken? So not a good start here from Bolt.new. So kind of skip past installing the dependencies. It's going into everything else and looking at all the rest of the components. We'll see if it goes back here and tries to install the dependencies again. But if we get tripped up here, this could be a fail from Bolt.new. We're a minute and a half in here so far, minute and a half in, and we're still on this trouble with installing dependencies. Not good from Bolt.new, not good. It's going back now and it's creating components that I thought were already created. So this is interesting. Honestly, from my perspective, after using each app, Windsurf, Cursor, Bolt.new felt like a more prototyping app than actually a tool that you build full applications with. It seems like almost like a little bit more advanced of a V0, if you've ever used V0, where it just kind of builds out the prototype for you. I wouldn't trust it with more advanced stuff, and I think our test here is kind of backing this up. So again, it's having issues with the preview. I'm going to do this now. I'm not even going to click try to fix problems. I'm just going to say getting this error because it clearly didn't understand what was going on. Getting this error. Here we go. Put that in. We're now hitting the 3-minute mark here. We're now about to hit the 3-minute mark. I know that's reversed on your camera, but here we go. So we're going back in. Let me fix the missing dependencies and add the required UI components. I'll update the package. Okay. So it's going in and trying to fix it. Bolt.new, rough start here for Bolt.new. If the Bolt.new team's watching this video, we got some issues, Bolt.new team. I've updated the package and required dependencies and add missing UI components. The application should now work without any errors. All right, so it's loading up here. I think it's loading up. I'm not seeing anything in the preview here. I thought this was a pretty simple prompt for an app we put in here, and looks like we're having trouble. Let's refresh this. And we got an error. Okay, so we are, at this point, 3 errors in. I got 3 errors on the scorecard here for Bolt.new. Let's put this back here. Oh, we have 15 problems. All right, we'll just click try to fix problem again. And we are now at the 4-minute mark with Bolt.new. We're now at the 4-minute mark. So it's going in. It seems to be building components again. I don't know why we're building components. It's fixing imports. That's good. It seems like there was an import issue going on here. Okay, here we go. So we got the UI. It fixed the issues. That's good. I didn't have to do any technical work, so that's nice. So it's still very simple, easy to use. I've added the missing text area component, create a suite. Okay, so here we go. Now I'll need to create a Supabase project and add your credentials to end.local and add my API key. Okay, so we're going to have to go in here. I'm going to need to go in the env file and make sure we add our Supabase credentials, and I'll have to add the ChatGPT API as well. So we're going to need the Supabase URL, the Supabase anon key, and your API key. I'm going to put this in now. If you're building along with me, you can go to supabase.com. I think it's the best free database you can use for apps you're building out with Next.js. And then you can come in here and you can go into your project settings to get your API information. For the ChatGPT API, just go to platform.openai.com and then you can create an account and then create a new secret key. Put all that into your .env.local file. We'll come in here. I've added all the .env variables. Let's move on to the next step. So let's see how Bolt handles this. I'll help you set the Supabase schema and add authentication to make the app more secure. Perfect. Okay, so it's adding the schema. We are now at this point, after getting all the API keys, putting in and all the buildings happening, 8 minutes in to Bolt.new's attempts here. We are 3 errors in, and we are also 6 prompts in. Okay, so let's see what we got here. It set up a schema. Now I need to go to the Supabase project and execute these SQL queries to make the necessary tables. Let's copy this. Let's go into the SQL editor. Let's copy that SQL in. Let's run it. Boom, worked well. Let's see if the tables got created. Okay, I went into Supabase and I set up the Google Auth, so that is all good to go. Now we have authentication. We have a bunch of things in here. Would I like to add any additional features? Okay, let's test this out. So let's try signing in. Let's test this out. Hey, are you there? Send. Let's see if this works. Will a chatbot reply to us? Nothing happened. What would you like to... Hey, are you there, chat bot? Okay, it doesn't seem to be working. I send a message and I don't get anything back. All right, so we have an error here. Let's add another error. We are now 8 prompts into Bolt.new. So we have 4 errors, 8 prompts in Bolt.new. Let's see what's going on here. Let me fix the chat functionality. This issue might be related to OpenAI configuration error handling. Let's have the chat route. Okay. We are at this point 15 minutes in. We are 15 minutes in to building this app with Bolt.new. Try sending a message now, and we got errors. Okay. So we got another error. We are now 9 errors into Bolt.new. You know, this is a more complex app than we typically do on this channel, but at the same time, is it the most complex app? I don't think so. Try to fix problems. Looks like it has missing components. That really shouldn't be a thing that an AI screws up on, is missing components. Like, it should know, the agent, that it was missing those components beforehand. Again, this is kind of validating what I thought about Bolt.new before, which was it's a good app, but it's not, but it's for prototyping. It's not really for building out full apps. You shouldn't be using it to build out full enterprise applications. The positive part about Bolt.new here is it has the best pricing structure of the 3. I'm doing this completely free. You didn't even really need to sign in to do this. You could just go and start trying this immediately, which is always fun and nice. Cursor and Windsurf do have free tiers, and I'll talk about the pricing when we go to those, and we'll rate pricing for each one as well. But at the moment, even at a free tier, it looks like we're struggling here. And we got more errors. We are now 7 errors in. It appears that trying to build any sort of app with both a backend and authentication and an API is just too much for Bolt.new to handle. All right, I decided to remove all the Supabase and backend and auth stuff because it just kept running into error after error after error. It couldn't figure it out. So this is super simple now. This goes against the challenge, but whatever. I need to get a working app here. So let's see if we can handle this without any sort of complexities. Are you there? And error. Couldn't be rendered because it's using request.json. We're going to call it there for Bolt.new. Bolt.new just cannot handle a complex situation. It cannot handle the backend. It cannot handle the authentication. Bolt.new, as I suspected, is just good for prototyping. It really is. So let's go in here. Let's get the final scores here. We did 11 prompts. We're calling this at 22 minutes and 2 seconds. 22 minutes and 2 seconds. So total time 22:02. We ran into 9 errors, 11 prompts, easy use. I mean, if I'm a newbie and I'm trying to do this, it's not working. I'll give it a 3. Because it was very easy to run into these errors, but I couldn't get the functionality built out, quality of app. I mean, we had the, it doesn't even look that nice. I guess it looks solid. It's a nice, simple layout, but I mean, it doesn't work. So I got to give it another 3. Pricing, it's free. So free. That's pretty nice. But again, as I suspected, Bolt.new really is just for prototyping, unless you're super technical, but I'm pretty technical, and it just wasn't guiding me down the path, and it couldn't seem to figure out the errors it was giving. So there we go, Bolt.new. Next, we're going to go into Windsurf, and then we'll go into Cursor. Okay, now let's build the app in Windsurf. For those who aren't familiar, Windsurf is probably the newest AI coding tool out there. What makes it really unique and special is Cascade, which is basically their AI agent. This is probably the most powerful AI agent I've ever used. It takes all of the complexity away from coding. And what I really liked about Windsurf was it had the flexibility and customization of Cursor, but the agentic abilities of Bolt.new. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, which I really like. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the same test. We're going to use the same prompt, and we're going to see what score we come up with here. So let's go in here. Let's go into the AI agent. Let's put in the prompt we use with Bolt.new. So we got an even testing field here, and let's hit enter and see what happens. And also, by the way, we do have the timer going, so we're going to see which one can do this quickly. All right. So I'll help you create a modern coach and chatbot using Next.js. Okay, let's create the Next.js project. Let's accept that. So it writes all the commands for us. So now it's installing all the tech for us. We're about a minute in here, so we're on a good pace here. Let's see how this goes. Let's see if we run into any issues. What's cool about Bolt.new is it was an AI agent, so it did a lot of things for you. Didn't have to put much thought in, but it didn't feel as powerful, didn't have as many capabilities. This is the capabilities of Cursor, but also those AI agent abilities. So I said I installed the tech through my command line. You can continue. So let's see what it keeps doing here. Great. Now that you have Next.js set up, I'll create the necessary files and configurations for our AI content coach chatbot. I'll help you set up the Supabase integration ChatGPT API and create a beautiful UI. Okay, so now it's going to install Supabase and OpenAI. All right, so it installed the packages. That's great. Setting up the interface components. Now it's building the chatbot out. Up to this point, I haven't had to do any sort of decision making or anything myself. It's just figuring it all out on its own and installing it. Now let's create the API route. So now let's create an API route for the requests. Now let's update the main page to use our chat component. At this point, we are 4 minutes and 52 seconds into this. Now let's create the Supabase database schema. You'll need to run this SQL in the Supabase dashboard. Okay, let's do that. So let's copy this SQL. Let's go into Supabase over here. We'll go into the SQL editor. We'll paste this in. We'll hit run. Boom. Okay. Looks like it created the tables. Let's see if it, yep. Conversations, profile, sick. Okay. So we're already further along with Supabase than we were with Bolt. Update your envelope with your actual API keys. Add your Supabase okay, so now we're going to add the Supabase keys into here. So I am going to go in and I will go into the settings of Supabase and put these keys in now. Okay, so I put all my API keys into env local. Now I am going to run the server. Let's see what we get. At this point, by the way, we are 8 minutes and 39 seconds in here. Okay, so let's see. I've created a modern AI chatbot with, okay, to get started, make sure you add your API keys. I did. All right, let's accept all. Let's pull over the window, and we got errors. Okay, let's see. Your importing component needs, let's take these errors. Let's paste it over into the AI, getting this error. Put it over here. Let's open the scorecard. That's an error. That's an error for Windsurf. So let's go here. So far, we are 2 prompts in. We have 1 error. Let's see what else we get here. Okay. Yes, we need to make the chat component as a client component since using React hooks. This should fix it. Let's accept. And let's pull over the app. Let's see what we got here. Okay. So we do have a chat bot. The UI, not beautiful. It is rather long for some reason. Let's see what we got here. Hi, are you there? Okay, so the font's a little funky with the colors. Okay, look, ooh, we sent a message. Kind of looks like iOS. That's kind of cool. Let's see if it returns a message from the AI. Okay, looks like it's not returning a message. We got some errors in the console, so let's put this over here. Looks like the AI isn't responding, getting these errors. Paste that in. Let's see what it got. So now we're at 2 errors. We're at 2 errors, which we're still ahead of Bolt at this point. So let's make this 2. We are now at 3 prompts. So still got some space here in front of Bolt. Let's see what happens. The 401 error from Supabase indicates an authentication issue. We need to properly initialize the Supabase client. The 500 error from the ChatGPT API. There might be an issue with the API. So it looks like there's errors with both Supabase and ChatGPT here. Let's fix these errors and update the Supabase client. It's adding proper error handling. See, this is one of the really cool parts about Windsurf. The amount it does, it kind of thinks ahead and adds more error handling and really interesting, cool things like that I really don't see from the other app. We are at this point 12 minutes in, so we're about halfway to where Bolt was. Bolt was 22 minutes. Let's refresh here. All right, so we're running into a string of issues here. Hey, maybe we find out from this experiment none of the tools are really that plug and play. All right, let's test this out and see what we get here. All right, here we go. Are you there? Enter. All right, still getting errors here. Let's send this. So at this point, we are 6 prompts in, 5 errors. I think we are starting to learn that there might not be an app out there that can just build anything from scratch. We're going to go and try Cursor once we get this working after. We can see if Cursor can fare any better. I feel like this is a pretty simple use case, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this wasn't as simple as I thought. All right, so now we're going to try to install some more technology here. I'm going to hit accept. All right, looks like there's actually some errors in the code here around the imports. I wonder if this is what's been breaking it all along. I wonder if addressing these towards the beginning could have fixed things. Let's see. I'm going to fix these errors. I didn't see these here, which this is a knock against Windsurf for sure. The fact that it didn't pick up that I had these errors going. I get these with every other AI coding tool I use, is that it'll introduce errors and not realize it. Okay, so look, it just, and people are saying this is the downside of Windsurf, is that it can't link, you can't link to documentation. Clearly it needs links to documentation here because it just does not understand how ChatGPT's API works. It just doesn't. Again, really disappointing here from Windsurf. It is just erroring itself in circles. It can't figure out the right things to import. Now okay, we might just call it here. This is just going in circles. It's just going in error circles. So we are now at this point as we try to figure out this import error circle, 11 errors deep, which we caught up to Bolt. It's trying to install more stuff. All right, it looks like it finally figured out how to import OpenAI into the project, which again, very disappointing. It should be able to do this easily. This shouldn't be a complex, out of all the things the AI could be doing, this shouldn't be the most complex thing it does. All right, so it just implemented a bunch of changes. There's no more errors anymore, so it got its way out of the error loop. We are 25 minutes in. Let's run the development server here. All right, so it's loading up. Let's see what we get here. AI content coach, start a conversation with your coach. Hey, are you there? Enter. It's thinking, oh, we got something. Hello, I'm here to help you with your... Okay, so the API is working. So we got it working. Let's end the timer here. We end the timer at 26 minutes, 24 seconds. Listen, disappointing outing by Windsurf here. Very disappointing outing by Windsurf here. We end up having to go 10 prompts, which is 1 less than Bolt. 11 errors, which is 2 more than Bolt. And then we did this for 26 minutes and 26 seconds. So it took 4 minutes longer. I mean, Bolt's app didn't end up working really at all. At least Windsurf ended up working. If I wanted to, I could probably sit here and make the UI look better in 1 or 2 prompts because the UI looks terrible. We didn't get the Supabase fully implemented in yet. That would have just took another 10 minutes, probably based on what was going on here. So what we're going to do is we're now going to rate it based on what we got here. So ease of use, nonstop errors. I mean, I find Bolt didn't get into error loops. It just didn't give us a finished product. So I'm going to have to, on a scale of 1 to 10, if anything, I think I have to give it a couple more points than Bolt because at least it led to a working product. With the same kind of difficulty. So I'll give it a 5 for ease of use. Quality of the app, it works. That's a good thing. It's kind of ugly, right? The UI doesn't really make much sense. You have to highlight to read. The text is white on top of a white background. So if Bolt is a 3 for a non-working app, I think I have to give this a 5 as well for quality of the app. And then pricing is $10 a month. So I guess it's not as good as Bolt. Bolt is free. So right now it's up to you. It appears Windsurf works better than Bolt, but you have to pay for it. And by the way, at the end of this, I'll give you my thoughts on all 3 of these tools based on my actual experience building enterprise level software. This is a very simple use case. I'll tell you about how this works when I'm building my full app. So wait for the end for that. But that's what we have with Windsurf. Let's go into Cursor now. All right. And so for the final test, we're going to do Cursor. Cursor is the most popular AI coding tool on the planet. So we're going to go through, see if it can build upon Windsurf and Bolt. Honestly shouldn't be too hard. Bolt really delivered us kind of a broken product that looked pretty good. Windsurf delivered us a working product that didn't look too great. Now let's see if Cursor can do the best of both worlds. Once we get through Cursor and we see how it compares to the other 2, I'll give you my real world experience using all 3 to build enterprise level software. So stick around for that as well. But let's get into Cursor. So this is Cursor. It looks pretty similar to Windsurf. It is going to have an AI tool right here called Composer, which is able to do a lot of what Windsurf does, which is able to build files, install technology, do a lot of different things for us. So let's take the prompt we used on the other 2. Let's put it in here. We're going to build out that AI content coach chatbot app. Let's hit enter and let's see what it can get for us. And let's start the timer here. So we got the timer going. Here we go. How is Cursor going to compare to Windsurf and Bolt? Let's get into it. Here we go. Let's break this down into small, simple steps. I'll create a Next.js app with Supabase integration and OpenAI API. First, let's create a new Next.js project. So I'm going to copy that as all the code is building out here. So it's building out all the files for us. It's building the environment. It's building out the environment variables. It's telling us everything we have to install here. Okay, so let's start copying these over. So downside to Cursor isn't agentic. The AI isn't going and installing things for us and handling everything. We need to kind of copy these commands over. So let's go in here. Let's accept all. Let's open up the terminal. Let's install these. It's installing all the tech for us. We're now a minute in here. We have no errors on the tech installation, which I think this is the first of the 3 to have that. All right, let's go back in. What else did it have us do here? Install the required dependency. So let's copy this. Let's put it into the terminal, paste it. So these count as prompts. I'm counting these as prompts because we have to do the work itself here. So let's add on here, total prompts. We're now 3 prompts in. We have no errors, which is a good thing here. All right, so let's see where we're at. All right, so it's going to continue here. We've installed all the tech. We are 2 minutes in. We have 0 errors 2 minutes in, and we've installed the tech. That's pretty good. So it's building out the chat input, the chat messages, the routes. It's writing all the code for us. It looks like it's implementing ChatGPT the correct way, which that is a good first sign. All right, he created a basic working version. The app interfaces. Would you like to add any specific features? Let's accept this and see where we're at right now. Okay, so we have errors. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so it has wrong imports from Supabase and is not importing components correctly. So let's go in here. Let's go back in here. Your imports on page.tsx are broken and your imports for Supabase are broken as well. All right, we got errors. We're in error territory here. Let's go back into Cursor. We're now 4 prompts in. We have our first error. Let's accept here. Let's see where we're at. Please don't put me in an error loop. This has been one of my concerns with Cursor when I used it a ton. Good amount of error loops. Okay, so we're still figuring out the Supabase here. Let's accept this. Where are we at here? No more errors. Okay, now let's run this npm run dev. Let's just see what we got working right away. Let's see what we got working right away. All right, let's pop this open. Let's see. Can we get the, if this is a working prototype? Oh, we got to add in, move open the window. All right, so by default, it is by far the ugliest of all three apps. This is as atrocious looking as it. Yeah, but hey, if it works, it works. Let's see. Hey, are you there? Let's see what we got there. Wow, it works on the first shot. It works. Unbelievable. Cursor got it working right away. All right. All right, this is the ugliest app of the three, but at least it's working here. Okay, so we got this going on first. Let's now make the Supabase work here. So let's go in. All right, that works. Now we're 5 minutes in and the chat GPT is already working, which is destroying the other two apps. Now let's implement Supabase. Please import it correctly. All right, so let's see where we're at here with the scorecard so far. That was for Cursor, our 6th prompt. We've only had 2 errors. We got it working right away. So ECU is going to be high on this one. All right, let's accept this. Let's see here. Supabase looks like it's implemented. Okay, so I gave 2 prompts here to get Supabase set up. I said, let's make this just save all the chats to Supabase and give me a SQL query to clear out all the tables from the project and add the tables I need for Supabase. So let's see what we got here. Okay, let's create the tables in Supabase here. Okay, looks like the new tables are set up in Supabase for the messages. Let's do this. I think we need to put in the environment variable, so I'm going to do that now. All right, I just put the Supabase API keys into the environment variables. Let's just see if this works, shall we? All right, let's see. Are you there? We'll hit send. Let's check our console, see if there's any errors with Supabase. Doesn't look like it. How are you today? Send. I'm here to have any feedback you may occur with content writing. How can I say? Okay, that's sick. That's really cool. Now let's see if it is saving. Now let's see if it is saving any. Wow, and it saved it to Supabase. There are all the messages from the user and the assistant. Okay, I mean, here, real quick. So it completed the challenge. Let's just, to have some fun here, please improve the styling so this looks good. All right, let's just, because I mean, that was the ugliest app ever. That is the most basic ugly app. Hey, listen, it's minimalist, I guess. It friggin' works. So let's just make it look pretty now, because that was part of the requirements, right? That was part of the requirements here. All right, so we open it up. It might be uglier. Hey there. Let's hit send. It still works. Not looking good. That's fine. Listen, if I wanted to spend a few minutes making this look even prettier, I can do that. But that wasn't the point of this challenge. The point of this challenge was to see which AI app, Bolt, Cursor, or Windsurf, was the best at creating this app. Let's pull open the final scorecard here. Let's give Cursor a scorecard. So Cursor, 9 minutes, 6 seconds. 9 minutes, 6 seconds here. So 9 minutes, 6 seconds. It took us, we added the extra prompt there for styling. So 7, 2 hours, ease of use. It was the only non-agentic AI app of them all. And it probably did that the fastest and easiest. We did have to manually copy and paste in the commands to install tech. I got to give it an 8. I mean, that was as easy of a process as possible. Quality of the app, it works. Does it look pretty? No, but it works. I have to give it an 8. Also, pricing, it's $20 a month. So it is the most expensive of the two. So listen, for this challenge, Cursor won, period. Cursor won. It wasn't even close. If I had to rank it in order, it's probably Cursor, then Windsurf, then Bolt. Obviously, based on my scores, Cursor built the app. It just, like, that's, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. It built a working app. It had the API from ChatGPT, so it had AI functionality, and it saved the messages to Supabase. None of the other two figured out how to save messages to Supabase easily. Both Windsurf and Bolt failed at that. Bolt failed at the API and the saving part. Windsurf was able to figure out the API part out after going in circles for a little bit. Couldn't figure out the Supabase part. Cursor figured out both really easily. to be quite honest, really easily. Real quick, let me give you my experience using all three, just building real world enterprise applications. So I'm building my own AI app right now called Creator Buddy. I've used all three of these tools to help build it out. It is a very large, complex app that I've been spending months and months and months building. Here's my experience with all three. Bolt was good at building the prototype for it. The moment I started trying to do some advanced work with Bolt, didn't do it. And listen, I think at the end of the day, I don't think anyone's going to tell you Bolt's meant for like really advanced coding. It's good for kind of prototyping. I then used Cursor to build out the next majority part of the app. And at first, when I started building it out from September to October, it worked really well, right? Right when Cursor came out, I started using it, and it worked really well. Here was my challenge with Cursor. The moment the code base started getting larger, the worse Cursor performed. And it got to the point where almost everything I was trying to do with Cursor was giving me errors. It was going in circles, and the most frustrating part of them all is it was randomly just deleting large chunks of code. Just randomly deleting large chunks of code. And I would be going along, and all of a sudden I'd realize that a couple prompts ago, it deleted entire components, and I have no idea why. That got really frustrating. I was getting very, very close to giving up on Cursor. And then about a month ago, Windsurf comes out, and I start using Windsurf, and I kind of replace it. I replace Cursor with Windsurf, and it has been incredible. To be honest with you, it has been incredible. It hasn't deleted random chunks of code. It hasn't hallucinated. It has just worked really, really well, even with a very large code base. I have a very, very large code base for my app, and Windsurf is just crushing it with no issue. It was like Cursor back at the beginning, but I like Windsurf even more because of the agent abilities, the AI agent abilities. It's able to think so much higher. It's able to think so much bigger, it seems. It's able to think of more abstract ideas. It really, truly feels like I'm working with a human being. Rather than Cursor, it feels like I'm talking to an AI bot. Windsurf thinks on a higher level, is able to install new technologies very easily, and it feels like it saves me a lot more time and work. So I've actually, out of all three of these, have been the most impressed with Windsurf. Cursor just hasn't been scaling with me, to be quite honest. Once I got to a certain size, it just hasn't been working. So based on my real world experiences, Windsurf has been the best. But based on this quick test here, which this is actually, I think, a relevant test for a lot of people who've never coded before, this is what their experience is going to be like, coming in and just saying, hey, build this for me, please. And to me, it seems like Cursor handled this the best out of all three. And so if I'm you, I'm going in here, I'm trying out all three, seeing what's best for you. But based on these tests, Cursor has been the best. I'll also give you one other piece of advice to make these three work well. I tried to one-shot prompt it with all three of these, right? I said, hey, build me this, go. That's not the best way to use these three. You know, if you go in here, if you want to get the most out of these AI apps, you need to do it little chunk by little chunk. Unfortunately, for a lot of people who are new to coding, they can't think in the terms of little chunk by little chunk, so they have to practice and start by one-shotting it. But over time, you'll figure out how to do this step by step rather than by just trying to build it all at once. So my advice to you is this. I try out Cursor. I try out Windsurf. For me, Windsurf's been the best, but this test has showed Cursor is actually by far the best out of all of these. So go in, and whichever one you choose to use, they're all different experiences each. So try it out, see which one fits your style the best. But what I really challenge you to do if you want to get the most out of these apps is try to break each piece of software down into the smallest chunks. And when you ask AI to do something, try to have it be the smallest scope possible for that ask. If you can do that, you're going to get way better results, and you probably will find success with all three of these. I tried to one-shot it with all three because I think that's the way beginners are going to try to do this when they use the apps. But there you go, Bolt versus Windsurf versus Cursor for this challenge. Cursor won. I'll do this challenge again in a year. I'll do this challenge again maybe in 2 months because they're rapidly improving all three of these. If you learned anything at all, make sure to subscribe, turn on the notifications so you get the breaking AI news the moment it happens, and leave a like for me. And then in the reply section, let me know which tool you're building with and enjoyed the most. I'd be really curious what's worked for you. See you in the next video.